Hello, everybody. Welcome back. YouTube.com/Geek Aloud for another Let's Discuss. Today, we'll be diving into the Xbox buying Bethesda fascination. But before we get there, I'll whip around and say hi to everyone. Steve, how you doing, man?
Good, mate. How is everyone?
Well, thank you. Rob, you're with us.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Welcome, sir. And Chris is back again. Hey, Chris.
Hey, hello. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Rob, you missed out last week. We all went through our Game of the Years. Rules are simple. Just a game you've played this year. It doesn't have to be released this year. For you, sir, what's been your game so far this year?
I'd probably say I'm only 60% of the way through, so Last of Us, don't ruin anything, is probably the thing that's impressed me the most. But I would say for Game of the Year, I like to choose a game that's going to change video games as well, and Half-Life Alyx for me was the defining moment of video gaming. The first hour of that game and the last hour of that game are as spectacular VR. Like for me, that's what I want my VR to be now. Like I love Beat Saber, but I've done 100 hours of Beat Saber. I need something else. And finally,
Are you playing that on PlayStation?
No, I've got the HTC Vive.
Ah, very good. Half-Life Alyx. Awesome. I'm only halfway through it, so don't spoil the end, but I totally get where you're coming from, man. It is an amazing game. Yeah, it really does set the bar.
I feel like the last couple of years have been good for a lot of minigame style VR, but there's very few people have actually taken the reins and gone, I'm going to do something completely original. Of course, it was Valve. But that first hour, when you go into a room and you think, I wonder what I can do, and it turns out everything you wonder you can do, that to me is like video gaming. That's like early Nintendo. That's a beautiful experience. When you wonder if you can do something and you think you probably can't, but you can, there's nothing like it.
The game before Half-Life Alyx, I agree with you 100%, mate. And the game that did it before was Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Absolutely.
That had that exact same physics. Like, how do I do it?
Yep.
Like, I love that discoverability. Completely correct. All right, cool. Rob's Gotti, do you expect it to be de-seated, dethroned by anything for your Game of the Year at this stage? Like, are you expecting Cyberpunk maybe or anything?
Possibly. I'm pretty obsessed with, I'm loving Final Fantasy VII Remake as well. I think that's brilliant. But I don't think it's as good. I will say the game that I'm having the most pure fun with, just pure unadulterated minute-to-minute fun, Hades, is got to be up there with the most fun experience I've had. I cannot tell you. I can't stop playing it.
I know nothing of Hades.
I cannot
you got to tell me about it.
it.
I don't know what it is.
So it's Supergiant, the guys that did Pyre and that did Transistor. So they just have this little group of guys that actually remind me of CD Projekt Red, except I feel like they're indie style. And it's the same group that did Bastion. They've been doing every game. I think they just did an AMA on Reddit. And that game, I can't express to you how much I can't stop playing it at the moment, more than any. Since Breath of the Wild, I haven't had a game. It's a roguelike, so it's very similar to Dead Cells, but it's integrated its story and its playability is just on point. Like you cannot stop. If you haven't tried it, it's $30. I think it's on sale now for a few days. So,
and is that on PlayStation,
Switch, and Steam?
Where are you playing it? Switch and Steam. Where are you playing it, Steve?
I'm playing on the Switch.
And you, Rob?
Switch. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And a good port. I assume it wasn't built natively for it.
Perfect. It's perfect. Like it plays perfectly. You honestly feel like it's one of those games where you die because it's your fault, and I like that.
Yeah,
I like
that.
Dark Souls style. Like you'll get frustrated, but ultimately, if you look yourself in the mirror, you know it was your fault.
And is that what you're at, Chris, with Tony Hawk's? How's that one treating you, mate?
I'm still just bashing my head against the wall, trying to get level 100.
Where are you at? Current level?
84.
Getting there, because what were you, 72 last week, I think?
Yeah.
And how many more hours have you put in?
I've slowed down a little bit because it is just like tedious. I've done all the challenges that are like within my skill level, and all the ones that are left aren't worth the time investment. So I'm just like going back and forth grinding XP for the sake of grinding XP. Like
Is it to the point where you're considering getting like a bot macro to run so you can just walk away and let it just sit there and generate the XP until the Chivo unlocks?
I saw someone talking about that on a forum, but I've resisted temptation. I gotta do it. Old school. But yeah, it is. I think that's the only thing in the game like I have any criticism of. I'm like, I don't know if they plan to do like daily or weekly challenges and then like it just didn't come together, but the XP like just hand out, it doesn't work. Even if you do all 700 challenges, that only gets you to level 80.
So
there's something unbalanced.
They need to add a battle royale mode and a battle pass, and then you'll be able to get in and grind those levels out, mate. It'll be perfect.
At this point, I'd play that. Like, I'm just entering a park, 10-second manual, 10-second grind, 10-second lip, and then like end run, restart. Like that's all I'm doing.
That sounds like you have played out that game entirely, mate.
Yeah.
Can you
My other option is like 22 million points. Like that's the challenges that I've got left, and it's too much for me.
Can you play the whole game listening to Goldfinger's Superman on repeat in the soundtrack?
Yes.
You can?
Yes, you
can
absolutely
turn
can.
off- Yeah, you can turn on and off which
only
songs you like, and if that's just the one you want to listen to, you can just have that one.
I think
I was a little annoyed, Rob. I spent maybe 5 minutes on a website going through, because they give you the full playlist and then you can go through and tick and untick the tracks you want on or off. But I had to pull up on a website, this is the list of all the original songs, and then go through and like match my list. I'm like, why didn't they have a button, original soundtrack or
Yeah.
new soundtrack?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
There's some new good ones in there.
I did turn off all the new ones though, so they might be trying to introduce me to something new and I've turned it off. I got no idea.
I've got to revisit Tony Hawk. Those first two are two of my favourite games ever, and they're actually, this remake's perfect, isn't it? Like if you like the original.
This is the remake. This is the time to jump back in, mate. If you used to play it, get back on it and break your thumbs.
Yep. All right, done. I even clocked the Game Boy Advance Tony Hawk. That's how much I played it, and that was a good game. Game Boy Advance Tony Hawk. That was underrated.
Just be prepared. You may not be as good as you were at the game when you were young.
Yeah,
As we previously discussed.
I feel that about Call of Duty on a daily basis.
Time is a cruel master. And what have you been playing, Steve?
I've been playing Hades as well on the Switch. Really enjoying that. Really good art style. Very humorous as well. It's definitely got the same kind of humour as we mentioned with those other games as well. So loving that game.
Do you want Hades in handheld mode or can it be docked? Is that fine?
No, it's fine. It's been working fine in both. Handheld if the wife or the kid want the TV, and the big 65-inch works fine on both. Very fluid gameplay. Just very addictive. You're just like Dead Cells. I played hours of Dead Cells, and this has got that same kind of hook. So that and Mafia Remastered I've been playing as well.
Oh, nice. I'm meant to
great
get mine
choice.
in the mail today. I'm waiting for it. I've got an ear out. I'm like,
Mate, it's a digital world now, mate. You just install it. You get it on the day it comes out.
How is it? Is it like, I love the original Mafia. Have they done enough to make it worth doing it again?
They've done more than enough. Brand new cutscenes, voice acted by completely new actors that really give a shit about what they're doing. Just the graphics. I don't know whether they've got ray tracing in it, but for some reason the lighting in this game is brilliant. The way you get reflections off the road and the water. I don't think it's got ray tracing, but whatever they're doing is magic. Yeah, very good story so far. I'm up to about chapter 11, which I think about halfway through the game. I never finished the original. Did finish number 2, which was one of my favourite games of all time. Didn't quite finish 3. Got a bit sort of repetitive with some of the open world stuff, even though it told a great story. This one's sort of to the point. Each mission, you know what you're doing. High action, good story. Not loving it.
Perfect. That sounds great. I can't wait to get my hands on a copy, do an install. That'll be up on the channel at some point. Keep your eyes out for it. I have played some Crisis, but we spoke about that last week. I got some Rocket League on last night. That's a lot of fun. That's free to play now. So anyone out there, free to play, especially on your Switch. I only thought to do this last night. Into the bigger news though, Xbox have bought Bethesda. Who saw that coming? Not me.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, it was crazy, right? They've
Not at all.
That Xbox Game Pass is about to explode. I'm happy I just got it.
Yeah.
Well, I think only Microsoft's got the money to do this. I think 7.5 billion or something they've paid.
That's insane. Now, I heard it a couple of times, but I didn't grab the actual number. Well, how does this compare to the Disney LucasArts film deal?
That
What
was 4.05.
Yeah, right. So about twice the price.
Yep.
And a lot of that Disney one was a stock deal because they didn't want to hand over cash.
Microsoft just making it rain over there.
Crazy.
So what do we think is the first? Is it day one? Are we going to get all the Bethesda backlog straight into Game Pass?
Oh, possibly.
We've had Doom 1 cycle in and out again, so I'm wondering if we'll get Doom Eternal was this year's one.
I think Eternal has gone in.
Is it in there already?
I don't have Xbox Game Pass.
1st of October, I think
might
it
not.
is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
It's in
perfect.
Game
Just around
Pass,
the corner.
As long as they use some of the $7 billion to fix Fallout 76, I reckon that will be
It can't happen.
well worth their time. The weird thing is, when I looked at it and it's like Skyrim is coming, a part of me was like, that is cool, but that game has also been around a long time in every form, in every version, on every system. I'm no longer never excited for it to go anywhere. I just didn't care when they said Skyrim's coming. I thought, all right.
The last time I was excited about Skyrim was Skyrim VR, playing that like a new way to experience it. But if they're not doing anything new and it's just Skyrim again, I think they can probably put that one on ice.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. I'm a bit over Skyrim, but I think like it's definitely pretty amazing to watch how they are actually buying up these. Like, I mean, Bethesda's huge, but it's going to get to a point where it almost feels, not to get too political, but it almost feels like the economy in general, the bigger guys are just eating everyone up. And we're going to have a really interesting thing going forward where Xbox Game Pass, they are going to beef that thing up. So that's where you go. That's your Netflix coming up. And it's, and I haven't had Xbox, I didn't get the Xbox One, but I've got that Game Pass and I love it. Like, it is unbelievable. If they keep adding to that thing, wow.
It makes a lot of logical sense to me. Like, I love it. I've got the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, whatever. I've had it for over a year. Like, I love it. I use it all the time. But I would still say I prefer PlayStation more. Like, for me, just as a fan.
I agree.
The offering of Game Pass, like on a logical level, yep, perfect, makes a lot of sense, awesome value. From an emotional level, give me a PlayStation any day of the week. I'd rather play Days Gone or something.
But, like, that was the first move that Microsoft have done to bring me back to them in 4 years, which shows that it's like, I mean, as a gamer that I love my Switch. Switch is, I'm on that thing all day, and my PlayStation and my PC, I don't need Xbox at all. There's been no exclusives that have excited me. And then I looked at that Game Pass and it's got like Streets of Rage 4 on there. And I was like, I was going to buy that on Steam. Nah, I'll just knock out. I'm playing all the Gears of War now. I played 1 to 3. Now I'm doing 4 and 5. It's an awesome offering. And now I feel like I'm back in Microsoft good books.
Yeah.
Which I never thought I would say again.
It's an interesting business sort of move if you look at it from the outside. Like, Microsoft are throwing all the money at Game Pass to get the developers on board. But what they're doing is bringing the gamers in at that price. Gamers are going to stop giving money to the smaller developers. Like, I think in 5 years, we are going to totally miss that whole mid-tier of games. There's going to be no one funding it. Like, unless Microsoft start to say, okay, we're going to do Game Pass Ultimate, but we're like specifically servicing these elements of it. We're always going to back AA, AAA. Like, if they had it in categories, they could sort of move it forward and ensure there's some cohesion. But if they, I'm concerned the way they're doing it now, in 5 years, where that total middle ground is just going to be gone. That's where the exploration in gameplay comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. It's parallel. It's parallel with the movie industry. It's actually quite similar. In the movie industry, there's films at about $10 million level, and then there's nothing until about $200 million. And that's pretty much most of the films you see now. Either it's low budget or it's too big to fail. I feel like I don't want games to be like that, because I love the middle tier of games. In fact, that's probably where you get your most special finds on Steam. You get those $30, $40 gold games.
Well, that's where I put, and sorry to harken on it, I'm just obsessed with Saints Row 3 lately, but like the dubstep gun, that's like a classic AA move. Like, no AAA game is going to put a dubstep gun in it. That's such a ridiculous idea. But for me, just as a gamer, one of those like crazy moments that I love and have a lot of fun with, like, it's that weird idea that's in that AA level. I hope we can maintain it.
Yeah.
That's my only concern.
Yeah, I worry.
Well, are we thinking that with this though that that they're going to keep these games exclusive to Xbox, or do you think that that Microsoft's got enough nous to say, you know, we'll still give these games to PlayStation and allow them to have them on the console?
I think Microsoft would love to be advertising on the PlayStation dashboard.
Yeah,
Microsoft would love nothing more.
Well.
Yeah, and that brings up another thing. You've got your Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop, which are both Arcane Studios, which is under the Bethesda umbrella. And I think they've come out and said that they're still going to hold up that exclusive deal with PlayStation for those two games.
Yep. Well, I think just look at what they've done with Minecraft. That's the perfect canary in the coal mine. Minecraft's still everywhere. It's still supported everywhere, run by Microsoft. I think you'll see the exact same thing moving forward from them. I'm not concerned about those games, the availability of those games. Yeah, as I said, it's the creation of new games in a weird space that...
Yeah. I feel like with all the existing franchises that you might get them on the other consoles, but if they decide they're going new IPs per se, the new IPs they might keep as console exclusive.
Maybe. It's possible. That'd be a very Sony move. Yeah, time will tell.
Here's a thought, though. Isn't it very possible, though, that as a result of this, it will become a little more like Netflix? If Xbox Game Pass works, PlayStation could easily do the same thing. They're already releasing consoles without disc trays. So this assumption is that you'll just log in and play. Google tried it with their game service where you're playing everything streaming.
Yep.
So it feels like there is actually a possible chance that exclusives will be the whole thing. It'll be like like you watch your Netflix originals. You go to Xbox Live and you play their games. You pay monthly for that. You go to PlayStation to play their games, and you end up having another 4 monthly subscriptions, which I don't want because I've already got too many monthly subscriptions.
I think I'm up to about 20 across the board. I don't know what I pay for. Just debit my account every month.
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous.
It was one good thing about COVID. It did force me to sit down, go past and cancel all my subscriptions.
I think I ended up with more.
I wonder if anybody's ended up with an extra Xbox. Did anybody get their pre-order in? Maybe 2 pre-orders?
Yep, I've got 3.
Really?
Wow.
3? Who have you gone with?
Well, I'll take you through my story. So I woke up at 8 o'clock on the dot, like everyone else, probably ready to go with the pre-orders. Was ready to hit checkout at EB Games again. I went okay with EB with the PS5 pre-order. And come 8 o'clock trying to check out, EB apparently didn't want to take my money. And
that doesn't sound right. Fact check false.
I know, right? And then it kicked me. It actually kicked me out of the browsers. Told me my password was wrong. Had to relog back in, retry and pay for it. I had my wife on her phone trying to order one as well. And eventually didn't get one at all. And then I don't know if anyone else went through EB, but then they had a timer saying they had their next shipment that you could pre-order was going to be by 12 p.m. that day. And then so we waited for the timer to count down, got then, and then apparently they were sold out, even though they never went on sale. And the timer went forward another 3 hours and said 3 p.m. So we waited for that to come around, and then you still couldn't pre-order. So I was getting pretty grumpy at this point. I tried all my other retailers. I think Troy messaged me and said, JB, we're up. I tried that, couldn't get one through there. Gets to about 7:30 at night, I get a message from a mate saying EB are back up saying 2020 pre-orders. So jump on there, managed to get a
2020 or 2021?
No, 2020. It wasn't for launch. It wasn't for launch, but they said they would still expect them 2020. So I think they put a date of 31st of December. So we can all sort of probably read between the lines. That's probably 2021 anyway.
Yeah.
So
you'll have that one for Easter.
Yeah. So my wife and I, we both ordered a $200 one at that point, thinking, at least I've got something. And then I was just scrolling through YouTube, and then I clicked on something. It took me to the Microsoft store, and they were taking pre-orders, and I just clicked on that, and somehow got a confirmed launch console through Microsoft store.
Oh wow,
that's amazing!
Yeah, and I heard they'd had issues all day apparently. So
yeah, how far after that EB's 8 a.m.? How much later was this?
So this is probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night.
That's amazing.
And then my wife jumped on to try and do the same thing, and she got a different message saying, "Yep, now taking pre-orders for 2021." So I must have just been either the last customer, I just somehow snuck in there.
It could have been somebody cancelling theirs as well. Could have put one back in the pool that you've grabbed, maybe.
Yeah. So up until then, I was relying on mates that had 2 and said, I'll take your JB order since they'd ordered through Telstra or something. So I think I've got a console. I've got confirmation emails, but we'll have to wait and see until they actually arrive in our pretty little hands, I think.
What about you, Chris? Are you Xbox bound or no?
No, I actually was looking at that little baby Series S. That's just a really good price. Like, for what it can do, like, it's not as powerful, but
yeah, that coupled with the Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly. I did think about it, but no, maybe later, maybe next year.
Fair enough.
I'll jump on that bandwagon.
How about you, Rob? What are you thinking?
Well, I've got some mates that work at JB Hi-Fi, and they told me how quickly that they were all exhausted. So I actually gave up, and I thought,
can you tell us that, or was that a conversation in confidence?
No, I just I've got some mates that work at the store, so I just called them up and I was like, can you put one aside? And they're like, oh, it's gone already. Like they're like, you don't realize how quickly it went. I was told that in Best Buy in New York, because my brother's there, 1 minute for PlayStation 5. 1 minute. Wow. They were exhausted. So
that's insane.
So I think it's one of those things where if you got in, amazing. But now I'm at a point now where I'm not getting one now. I'm going to have to wait. I just know it. I'm going to play my Xbox Game Pass and go nuts with Hades for now, and just try not to think about all the enjoyment I'm going to miss out on. Yeah.
Oh, you could always pay $1,500 to one of those guys that's used a bot to pre-order one.
Don't do it.
Well, I feel like I'm going to end up playing Cyberpunk so much that even if a new console did come out, I would be playing Cyberpunk. And I remember that happened with GTA 4, I want to say. I was playing that on the PS3, and then the PS4 came out, and I was still playing the PS3. I think it was at GTA 5 maybe, which is the one
GTA
that crossed
5.
That one crossed over, right? It came out just at the end of the life cycle.
Yeah.
And I was playing that for months into the new generation. I thought, and the same with our guitar, the one where you had the actual real guitar. Those were the two games.
Rocksmith?
Rock Band. I was playing those
Rocksmith.
two for like a good 6 months after the new console came out, so I figure that'll probably just happen again, and then I'll just get it when I can.
100%. For me, I've got my pre-order with JB Hi-Fi. It's the only place I can get it. I had multiple retailers open. I was trying for Amazon all day. Amazon's my go-to. They would be my choice. I had them bookmarked, and every time I went there, nah, don't talk to us about it. Don't talk to us about it. And even today, if you go to Amazon and have a look, it's like, we have no details for you.
I think Amazon was putting up pictures of puppy dogs if you tried to get your pre-order in as a way to be, a cute doggy. That's okay. I didn't get my Xbox, but that's okay.
So if you guys have got your machines coming, is there like a particular game that you're going crazy for that like, or are you just going to buy a bit of everything and see what it looks like?
Yeah, well, I'm going to buy the crossover titles. Like, I want to get the big ones every year. Like, I want to get your Assassins, your Call of Duty, Cyberpunk. I'm going to be getting them all, but I'll be getting them on PS4 and then doing the PS5. Now, last generation, it was a $10 upgrade fee from memory, but I think they've said they're not charging this time. I could be wrong. But
Ubisoft and Sony have said no charge.
Yeah, so I'll get all the games, Rob, for PS4. I'll play them on there, hopefully get some trophies, and then as soon as the PS5 gets here, I'll pay the $10 free upgrade and then play them again on the PS5.
Nice. Yeah.
Double dip those trophies. But yeah, so I've got an order with JB Hi-Fi, but theirs are the most concerning messages because like, we acknowledge we have your $50. You can cancel at any time. We don't know when we're going to get a thing. It's like they open it up and they say it's an allotment, but then as soon as they confirm it, they're like, no commitment to date.
That's
like,
a bit sus.
Okay, guys.
Well, if you don't get one, mate, apparently I've got 3. So
yeah, perfect. I'll be hitting you up on that. But you've been Xbox streaming to your Android, Steve.
I have. I don't even know what made me think of doing it. I just sort of looked up. I saw something on YouTube. I think it's over in the States, though. I thought I'll give it a go and downloaded the app, and apparently it works. Obviously, there's no xCloud, but I just thought I could stream it to my phone, and playing Avengers on my phone, even though it was small, was kind of a novelty. And I had no real issues with it, no real lag, nothing.
Is it local Wi-Fi only, or could you be remote?
I think you need to be local Wi-Fi only, so it's sort of only in your own home at the moment, which is probably only good if you've got kids and stuff that want to utilise your TV and you've got no other options. So I've utilised his Samsung pad that he's got now, which apparently he gets angry at me for using that, even though he's using my 65-inch TV. But I think as far as xCloud goes, I think Phil Spencer tweeted out recently saying that they're currently undergoing testing in Australia internally and expecting it early 2021 for Australia. So that's exciting.
That is exciting. That's awesome. Especially, I don't know if anybody else caught it, but they announced the new NBN. They're finally going back to the original NBN plan of doing fibre to everyone's homes. So that's good in 3 or 4 years.
Wasn't that
Australia
affordable?
will have decent internet.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yep.
We'll get there.
We will.
Yeah.
Just like the Avengers are slowly getting there with patches.
Yes, had quite a few patches now, and the most recent one, I think, which everyone was crying out for, if anyone's mainlining Captain America as their character and realising that you couldn't actually break down doors to get to chests in certain levels, even levels that were actually made for Captain America, and you couldn't actually finish side quests and that, so they've updated that now. As far as Avengers go, I've hit level 50 with Cap and about power level 100, so...
Oh, wow.
The grind is real.
Do you still have the drive there for it, or is it sort of a bit played out and you're waiting for DLC?
I wouldn't mind some DLC. There's some characters coming real soon and some new story content. I can see myself still playing it. Obviously, at the moment, I've just sort of gotten stuck into Mafia and that and Hades, so it's taken me away from a little bit. But no, I really enjoyed the campaign in Avengers, and I'll play more content. It looks like they're going to have a continuous stream of content over the next couple of years. So I've got every announced that Crystal Dynamics knows what they're doing with that.
Yeah, it does look good, and high hopes for the future of it. I think you're right. A couple more patches. I'm looking forward to that big sort of maybe the 12-month later content patch, like the big one. When that, I'm just assuming they've got a 12-month content roadmap. I haven't read that anywhere, I'm assuming. But it's always good. Like Destiny have done it a bunch of times, and they do that sort of 12-month reset, and they fix everything. That's phenomenal.
Is anyone else playing Avengers at all?
I'm still picking it up.
I wanted to ask you, what's because I've looked at it for a bit. I thought about it. There is a sense I get from all the reviews I've seen that it's a little more on the button smashy side than it is on any form of tactical action side. And considering I'm playing Hades right now, where everything you do matters, it feels like it's the opposite. It's just smash, smash, smash. But it looks fun. Is that fair, or is that my being unfair?
No, that's fair.
I was going to say, the more you play it, I think you unlock more more abilities, it actually does make it a bit more nuanced in the way you can play. You probably can play it as a button masher, but on those harder difficulties, there's no chance. You've got to sort of work out your combos and all that kind of stuff. Troy's probably played a bit longer. He'd probably know the same thing, that you probably couldn't just get away with button mashing.
Do you feel strong? Do you feel awesome? Does it feel like Batman Arkham City?
No, well, this is what I want to say, is that the difference between this and the Batman games, like the combat is essentially the same, combos and stuff, but because it's online, like the Batmans are all local, so it's got that instantness to it. The instantness isn't there because it's online, so you can't string the super long combos. Really? For me, I can't. People with better dexterity might be just fine, but I cannot string those long combos because you feel invincible in Batman when you sort of get a 30 combo together. You haven't been hit and you've landed 30, you feel invincible. I've never gotten that feeling in Avengers.
I think the good thing about Avengers, though, is each character does play very different from the other. So, you know, it's similar control mappings, but they do play very differently. So if you are switching up characters, if you get bored with one, you can switch to another, and it's a completely different gameplay experience, which I think they've done very well with.
I've read a few things that the general game, the actual story, is really fun, like really enjoyable from top to bottom, done really well. And then all of the extra stuff that's meant to keep you coming back isn't fleshed out. But if I just bought it just for the campaign and nothing else, is that enough? Do you think that there's enough there that I'd go, yep, that's worth my $70?
I think so. I really enjoyed Kamala Khan. I know Troy didn't like her during the beta stage. I'm not sure if he's changed his opinion at all.
No, yeah, she is far more tolerable when she's a bit more fleshed out. They kind of just gave her a highlights reel in the beta and really cut her. They did her so dirty in that beta. Yeah, I think, Rob, if you haven't picked it up yet, mate, I'd wait for that 12-month reset. You'd be able to pick it up for $20.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing in it that you must play now. They haven't broken any, like, there's no new gameplay mechanic. You're not missing out on the new thing. So I'd wait 12 months, pick it up for $20, get that new big content reset. I'm sure it'll be a better experience.
Yep.
It is a good Avengers story, though, I have to say.
A great Avengers story, but there's no need to rush out and experience it. I don't think they've broken anything
Is
crazy.
it as good as Injustice? Because that was a great story. Both those games have good stories.
That was a very good story.
No, it wasn't as good as Injustice. I loved Injustice.
Yeah.
Did you read the accompanying comics for Injustice? They did, I want to say it was a 15 comic book run for Injustice Gods Among Us I'm talking about.
No, and I usually would. Were they good?
They were phenomenal. One of the best Batman comics I've ever read. And I don't even want to say any more. I'll just say go and look up Injustice Gods Among Us Season 1, and I want to say it was comic book 12 is the really awesome Batman story. I could be wrong on that episode, but what do they call comics? I said this on a stream the other night and I couldn't pull the name. Maybe someone here knows. Issue. Thank you. I could not for the life of me pull the word issue out. I totally blanked on it. Thank you, mate.
You run a channel called Geek Aloud. Come on, man.
I know. I just totally blanked on it. What do we think about Metal Gear Solid rumors? There's a remake potentially in the works, maybe?
Yeah, I think they are pretty... I mean, I think I just heard recently as well that they're bringing the other Metal Gears to PC.
So really? I hadn't even heard that as well. That's awesome.
So whether that's sort of got something to do with that, I'm not too sure. If I did want a remake, I probably would want the Final Fantasy VII style remake for Metal Gear. I don't think just sort of a high-res version of the first game would probably do in this day and age. I'd probably want someone like a Blue Point or something on that.
Yeah, they need to fix the controls. The controls on the PS1 killed me.
Yeah, so I mean, Blue Point obviously currently doing the Demon Souls, but I think if they could hit up Metal Gear, that'd be a big game for them.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Have you guys?
I was going to say it would be awesome, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Do we? Reading the article on PlayStation Lifestyle, it felt like they were almost confirming that number one was definitely happening, and they were saying it was a maybe for 2, 3, 4. But just going off what you've said then, Steve, with the PC stuff, I'm wondering whether, maybe it's some house maybe we have or haven't heard of them, but has up-res them and ported them all to PC, and then we're getting like a port of a port. And if that's the case, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, absolutely not. But whether it's just them testing the waters, maybe with getting some Metal Gear out there and seeing sort of what kind of hype it gets, and if they get some traction at all, then maybe there could be credence to the remake.
Yeah, it's exciting though. I'd love to know if they're going to recapture the voices and do they get David Hedder back, or what's happening there? Are they friends or not?
Oh no, they might have to use Kiefer Sutherland again.
Oh, no, I love Kiefer Sutherland. I'm a big fan, but he had no place voicing Snake.
But I could imagine if they got the gameplay of the most recent Metal Gear and put that into a good story of the first one, that could be a great game, because I think the only thing that let the most recent one down was its story. The gameplay was phenomenal.
That'd be interesting. Imagine if they just used the, I can't remember, what is it, Fox engine? What was number 5 built on? Decima, no?
No, I think
Anyway.
it was Fox Engine.
Yeah, but imagine if they just redid 1 through 4 gave it the Metal Gear Solid 5 treat. That'd be cool. That'd be a middle ground.
Well, in the last year, I've played 2 remakes. One is Final Fantasy VII, which I'd never played the original because I didn't have a PS2 back then. So for me, it's not a remake at all. It's a whole new game. And I got the original on Switch, and I'm playing a bit of the 2, and I'm like, oh, okay, they just went, let's keep the characters and do a whole new game. But I thought that's a cool idea. The other one I played, though, was Resident Evil 2, and I've played the original about 50 times. And the remake is one of the best remakes I've ever played. I thought it was perfection for a remake. It felt like the original. I got to do all the same stuff, but everything I wanted to be better was better. So if they did that with Metal Gear Solid, as someone who didn't have a PS2, I would more than happy be for them to do a Resident Evil 2 level remake, fix all the controls, fix all the graphics, and just give me that game again and give it to me for $30. I would love that. Because
does anyone recall offhand just the length to play? I cannot recall. It was too long ago. Metal Gear 1 from start to finish on the PS1. Was that like 8 hours?
Yeah, it wasn't a long game, I don't think.
Famous, there's a lot of speedrunners on that game, right? Like that's one of those games that people have done it in like a ridiculously short amount of time. It is, right? I'm pretty sure the original Metal Gear Solid is one of those games.
If there's a video game out there, there's speedrunners doing it very quickly. It doesn't matter what game it is.
That's true.
And the final bit of news we've got this week is the PS5 VR stuff. There was a patent filed by Sony that it was showing the controller type for the new, in theory, nothing confirmed, but it was a legit Sony patent for the new wands, Rob, for the VR. You're looking very confused, mate. The look on your face says, what's he talking about?
No, I'm just thinking if I would ever want to go to the console VR, having PC VR, if I would ever do that switch. And I was going to ask you if it's worth doing.
Let me tell you this, and the example I'll give is Beat Saber. So I love Beat Saber. You're better at it. You've put more hours into it,
man,
no question.
Beat Saber.
I know, you're better at it than me, no question.
Has he done a video topless on YouTube yet?
I don't know. He's just he's not trying. He's not trying.
I
have. But so playing Beat Saber with the PlayStation Move controls, like the PS3 Move controls, they're the wands. That's how I learnt Beat Saber. That's where I learned it, and I love it, and I'm used to it. And in here, the roof's low at a certain point, and sometimes on those up notes when they, what's that rave track? Dun, 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 dun,
Crab Rave.
Crab Rave, thank you. I smacked the roof, but because the wand has it's got like a big soft light rubber ball on top, and so that rubber ball hitting the roof is perfect. It just absorbs it. But then I've got the HTC Vive controllers, which are like a harder plastic end to them.
Yep.
In VR, you smack them into stuff and you'll break stuff. Like that rubber ball on top of the PS4 thing is gold, and they should do whatever they can to preserve that. A rubbered outside edge is great, but their pattern on the new one, it's like this sharp, jutty out plastic bit. It looks like some knuckles that you'd use in a fist fight, It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like people are swinging those around, so there's going to be broken monitors and holes in plaster walls.
Well, I'll never forget.
It looks like a Batman weapon.
Yeah, it does. I'll never forget with my HTC Vive, I was playing Pistol Whip, and it's in the name. You have to pistol whip, and I didn't realize that I had kept stepping forward, and I punched a guy. And punched the wall so hard with like everything I had, and I completely messed my hand up. Like I leant into that punch, and I just smacked. And it was, it was like the joining part of the corner of a wall where you've got like the hard cornery bit. That's what I punched, and I just dropped like a sack of potatoes. And the worst thing was, it's that extra front bit on the HTC Vive smacks into everything. So
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Everything.
Now open up the patent for this PS5 VR controller and look at it. It's worse. It's bigger. It's bulkier. Sony are going in the wrong direction with these controllers.
I feel like the Wii got it right. Nothing should be hanging too far over the top.
Well, I really dig the PS4 one with that rubber end. In all seriousness, that's an accidental thing that they stumbled into, and they need to embrace it for the next one.
All they need to do is add a joystick to the controllers.
Yeah. Joystick would be nice.
What's the Steam one like, right? Because the Steam one's the one that a lot of people say is the one to get now, that it's the cheapest and it's the best controller.
And that's the one that does the individual finger tracking. Am I thinking of the right one?
I think so. Well, I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, those look phenomenal. I haven't used them. I would love to use them. From a playing VR standpoint, yes, give me more input options. I love it.
Yeah. The Vive also has that button that means you have to have a 22-inch thumb just to get to the top of it. It makes me crazy because I don't have the biggest hands, and I have to it feels like when you're doing a thumb war with someone and you go for that extra over thumb move. Every time I try
Keep your elbow down, Rob. You're cheating every time you lift your elbow. You always cheat at thumb wrestling.
Man,
Stop
it makes me crazy. It makes me crazy, that extra thumb extending.
You need the finger longerer. Do you remember Futurama back in the day?
I remember. Of course I remember the finger longerer. It's a crazy question. I think about it daily.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to youtube.com/GeekAloud for another Let's Discuss. We were joined by Chris, Rob, and Steve. Thank you all very much, boys.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Stick around, guys. Check out the other content on the channel. Bunch of Let's Installs, Let's Plays. Let's Plays, Tuesdays, Thursday, Sunday night, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern. Like it, subscribe it, you'll never miss it.
Oh! Finally! Yes! Avengers, assemble! He's trying to sweep up leaves in this world. And another one!